We have two cars here for you today, two different colors, different trims also, so everything you need to know, also which options to go for and which maybe not. So the CX-5, very interesting because it's an affordable SUV that is, somewhat doing everything you might expect. What you can expect exactly, we're going to find out in Full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! Please subscribe if you haven't done so far and also activate the notification. Thank you. Here, the Mazda CX-5 in the front. Exterior-wise, this recent update has not changed anything in the front. This current generation has this huge front grille with a sport design already from low trim levels. This one here, mid-trim level car. We'll also show you a high trim level car. Then we have this leaping over to the headlamps. LED is standard. Optional, there would be matrix LED. These are the normal LED lights, and you can see they also do not have the LED daytime running light. The other vehicle we have with the matrix LED option does have a daytime running light with LED that looks definitely fancier than here. That's always a question of extra price. We'll also go through other options that you can really compare what you maybe need and what not. The length is at 4.55 meters, 14 foot 9 or 179 inches. And the color you see here is called Soul Red Crystal or Magma Red, Magma Rot, that's the German name. So different namings for the paint in different markets. And the Mazda Red is always kind of special because it is consisting of different layers, and that's also the reason why it shines differently depending on where the light angle is coming from. Dropping line right here above the door handle. This here with 17-inch wheels, the smaller wheels, and there are also bigger wheels available. So the polymetal gray vehicle we have today has the 19-inch wheels. There you can also compare what is, of course, the bigger wheels look fancier, but these here deliver a little bit more comfort because there's more dampening than from the tire. Crossover look around the wheel arches, classic CX-5 design here, then also with a sporty finish with some shoulder area right there. And the length is indeed somewhat in between. It's not too long, but also not too small. So the CX-5 could always be somewhat like a good compromise. Front-wheel drive model available as start, but also all-wheel drive model available. So depending on what your desire is, of course, the front-wheel drive models are a little bit cheaper, all-wheel drive models then more expensive. But with this facelift or with this update, they also improved the all-wheel drive system, so reduce the friction in the all-wheel drive system for a little bit more fuel efficiency. In the rear you can see here the tail lamps. They stand a little bit out in a three-dimensional style. Once again here a difference if you have the base lighting like this here with our red vehicle, but the polymetal gray car has once again this matrix LED option, which also changes then the rear to LED. That again looks definitely fancier. And good to know that the Mazdas did not go for any fake exhaust tips, rather the real deal. And this is our polymetal gray car, a very special color as well. And this has the matrix LED option. In Europe that would be the sports line here as well. So you can see here more spectacular with the daytime running lights that really looks cooler. Matrix LED then of course better for the high beam functionality. And here we have the 19-inch wheels up close. Of course they look way better, even better of course with summer tires. These here are the winter tires, so with summer tires it would look even more impressive. And in the rear, if you have the matrix LED option, also the tail lamps right here in LED style, once again looks fancier definitely. As for engines, in Europe we also have a 2.2 liter diesel with 150 or 184 horsepower for the CX-5. More importantly, worldwide are the petrol engines. They're available pretty much everywhere. This one here, looking at, is the smaller one. It's a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder with 165 horsepower, and then even more commonly, especially for the US guys, 2.5-liter inline 4-cylinder with 194 horsepower in the EU spec, or 187 or optional 250 horsepower in the US spec, and either with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and of course also available with the automatic gearbox. And we all know that Mazda really does some great manual gearboxes. They're very crisp and easy to shift, really sporty, and also good as for the efficiency. With the automatic gearboxes, they have been struggling a little bit because they were kind of slow and not so good for the fuel economy and so on. Here now with the facelift or update, they worked on the auto gearbox and reduce the shifting time, so it's faster now and also supposed to be more spontaneous. We're going to test it later. This is the key fob, and yeah, this doesn't feel that good, so one thing maybe to criticize, but once again, we're also not in a premium segment here. Door closing sound. That sounds pretty solid. That rather sounds premium-like indeed. So let's open it up, and inside of the doors, soft touch here at the top part, nicely done, even softer here, leatherette arm cover. There's a lot of black piano lacquer, maybe not my favorite one, but then reasonable space at the inside of the doors. And this being the EU exclusive line, comparable to a sport or touring trim in the US, so like a mid-spec steering wheel here with volume knobs. This feels very good. As for the build quality, the right side then to control the cruise control. Here the instruments, they are analog, mainly analog in this case, some digitalization on the right side, but there's also an option at the other vehicle. We show you the difference very soon. These here are the standard cloth or fabric seats in black. They feel quite good and, you know, also feel quite durable. We're going to take a seat very soon. There are some animal skin options yet. Yes, however, the black cloth is almost standard for every trim model, and in the US you can also get a full leatherette seat as an alternative in black or beige, and even in EU or in Germany there will be special edition models. There has been one already, and now there will also be another special edition model where you can also go for a leatherette seat if you rather want a slick surface. The fabric surface has the advantage that it's more breathable in summertime and also stays warmer in winter times, and it also adapts a little bit better to the body. Then, as you know, for the headroom, when I put the seat all the way down, yeah, plenty of headroom left for 1.86 and 6'1". You can also pump it up y'all here manually and find a good, nice seating position. So really good also for tall people. Steering wheel in and out, up and down, and you immediately feel at home in this vehicle. That's a good thing. Have a good overview, and it already feels like a grown-up SUV. Interior overview, everything straightforward. As for design, you've seen the steering wheel here with a good size, feels quite sporty. Then we have soft touch materials here all over the place, so feels like a good build quality. News here with the update 10.25-inch screen with very small bezels, smartphone-like. You have to check your configurator or your price list in your market if that's already standard with all vehicles or if that's an option, but it's definitely, at least with mid-trim levels, this will always come. So this is the main news here for the interior, and let's directly take a look at that. So one thing is, it's not a touchscreen, and Mazda does this intentionally because they say it's too dangerous to control it while driving. They want you to control it from the lower turning pressing knob, and the good thing is, yeah, sometimes a touchscreen is nice. However, for a non-touchscreen solution, it is fairly easy to handle because they really cleaned it up. The map here is very clear to read, and you see it's a very, a lot of contrast inside there. So, And once again, small bezels, that's how it's supposed to be, really looks smartphone-alike. And for example, to hop to the CarPlay or Android Auto, it's pretty easy, just go once to the right, and there we are in that CarPlay menu, and then you can go like this here back to the Mazda menu. Especially in the CarPlay menu, you sometimes go, oh, yeah, but it doesn't work. So in the CarPlay menu, you sometimes think that would be cool to do that. However, once again, it is fairly easy to control still. And even if you don't have the top audio system, the sound is actually quite nice, I have to say. So, good update here with the infotainment, especially map-wise, and you can very easily learn to control it also with the turning and pressing knob. Some even prefer that, and see, it's also not too close to the driver. If I just sit normally, I wouldn't even reach it. I have to lean forward, so it's really meant to be controlled also while driving with this control knob here in the lower part. Here, turning and pressing. You can also go back here, and this offers the home menu, a GPS shortcut. So again, very straightforward. Classic volume knob here too. So I think that's overall a good solution. And above that, we have, in this case, the manual gearbox. The other vehicle we have here today is the automatic gearbox. And here the manual gearbox at Mazda, they are really crisp and precise to put in. So a lot of fun with the manual gearboxes here. We'll see later if these updates for the auto gearbox do anything. And what's also cool is that we still have a manual climate unit here with this metal knurling around, good build quality, and also how it resonates when you just control it, like this straightforward design, and a good steering wheel heating button also, especially here for the winter times, nice to have. These are the base instruments, all analog, left side RPM, and then the central with the speed. And the right side is the only small screen here. For example, in this case, then with the visualization, if the doors are closed, here you can see that it changes. We're going to take a look also at the upgraded one. And cup holders are adaptive, so they work for different beverage sizes. And then this armrest here also soft touch leatherette, and meanwhile better attached and some space underneath. This top part here would be cool for the smartphone. However, it's not big enough actually for the smartphone. See here, so that's maybe a design flaw. So you need to put it up and then put your smartphone in the big area underneath. There's for 2 USB chargers. Or as an alternative, you can also put your smartphone in the cup holder area, use one of the cup holders for that, and then here there are like these gaps for the cables, and then you can also close it like this, so this would be the alternative. And in the high trim you also have these wooden inserts. They are right here at the inside of the doors, and also here at the dashboard. It's actually a quite nice addition. And here we have the car with the automatic gearbox, so different shifting lever here, and also then the drive mode selector here, for example putting in the sport mode, so you can change the characteristic of the automatic gearbox. With the manual gearbox, obviously you would just fine tune it with clutch and throttle. And this is here the other trim level with the higher trim level. So we have a digital display in the middle part, but no digital at the right side. So this then is manual on the right side, but the middle part is digital then. Yeah, if that's really better or worse, I leave it up to you. What do you think? And there's also the option of a head-up display with the speed, the allowed speed, and so on. Some more information. Very good to read. Directly projected into the windscreen. And the new rear view camera in the big screen, really cool, better resolution, everything very well to see right now. A good upgrade as for that. Happening lines here according to the steering wheel movement, and this is also the fake drone view from above. By the way, pay attention here how very well done these gaps are actually. So this is really paying attention to detail. That's really slim and very straight right here. And coming to the rear door, even the rear door has a nice closing sound. And even more importantly, look at that. It basically almost opens 90 degrees. So that's very good to get in and out, and also for child seats and so on. Soft touch also at the rear inside door. We hardly see that nowadays in this price category. Also soft touch right there. And once again, the black fabric setup here. Isofix at the outside parts each. Of course, the central question is always how much legroom we still have right here. And you see here, this sufficient. Also have an upright seating position. Works also with tall adults when they are driving right here and also in the rear. And also headroom-wise, no problem. So it's a very comfortable seating position here. Nothing to complain about at all. Once again, with the Isofix, told you. And then here I can already fold the seat from here. Middle seating here, since it's a fabric surface, it's also somewhat, soft, so not too stiff. That's also something to take in mind if you go for an animal skin spec, that the middle seat here will be even tighter, even harder, but here in the way you can still sit. Of course, this seat is here adapted to Jonas here at the moment, so there would usually be a little bit more space actually. And in this middle unit here, there's just some air vents, and that's basically it. And last but not least, we have this part here with cup holders. They're even adaptive here with these rubber lips and some more space here. Even USB charging 2 times for the rear. It's a very interesting solution. Taking a look at the trunk, this starts here with the manual opening, and yeah, why not? Electric tailgate is of course available. Here underneath we have some more space. That's very usable, and you see here very good dimensions for the trunk. And then you can also have different folding mechanisms. For example, this one here is just for the middle part. And then the big lever is that for the whole thing, like this. You need to push it down a little bit more. And also show you some luggage inside. And you see how that one looks like. And you see this top cover here, it automatically raises. You see here? It's like rolled, and then it goes up and down alongside with that. So that's a very good solution. You see here, cabin trolley also fits easily in the vertical way. And then you can also fold the other half of that, and you see that also helps with it going down. This area here has now been improved a little bit as we were presenting it at the world premiere. This was, not so well done. They have upgraded it, so there's a better transition than here now. And the measurements. So the length, normal length, is almost 1 meter, and the width in the lower part, this very lower part, is a little bit more than 1 meter, and even more in the upper part here, up the wheel arches, 1.20 meters, and the absolute length to the front seat as we would be driving is 1.70 meters. Once again, the height to the cover. So this is about 50 centimeters, and that's actually quite substantial. And the total height then, if you would remove that cover completely, it's rather towards 80 centimeters. So once again, very well usable, although it's not the biggest SUV. And this is here the electric tailgate. It's an option like this. Takes a while. By the way, 30 to 60 cubic feet, the figures then for the US, and 500 liters to 1,620 liters, the EU figures. And you can see here, the trunk of course is the same. By the way, here I do not exactly fit under it, no matter if the automatic or the manual tailgate. So this is like one catch. And child safety test for the closing. Oh, yeah, some resistance. At least it stopped at some point, yeah. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Mazda CX-5 in the recent version. 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder engine here, so the biggest one that is available. And as I said earlier, in Europe, here in Germany, we have a little lower horsepower spec than the optional one in the US. A little bit more horsepower than the lower one in the US, but then less than the bigger one in the US. So around 190 horsepower. In the US, you can also get a 250 horsepower version. This one you're also working with cylinder on demand technology. And now also improvements here with less friction in the all-wheel drive, if you have the all-wheel drive version. And also with an upgraded automatic gearbox, so better reaction times and also faster shifting. Because so far I really have to say that the manual gearboxes at Mazda are really good. So they are very easy to control, crisp when putting in the gears, and so on and so on. And the automatic gearboxes usually are higher in the consumption and so on, and not that responsive, and let's see if that changes now. And indeed, so when I just apply the throttle in normal situation, indeed you have a more spontaneous response from that. So yeah, for years we have been searching for that and ask ourselves, why can't they make a better, more suitable auto gearbox? And yeah, at least some step forward now. Now from 60 kilometers an hour to, let's see, but let's put in the sport mode first. 120. That's 150 kilometers an hour. That's enough for now. So reasonable acceleration. There's no turbo, so it's not that fast. But we have the big displacement, so it's definitely more than enough. And you also heard you have to put it to RPMs if you want a more spontaneous or more sporty reaction from that. Here with the sport mode, the throttle input is being tuned, so that is changing then. So that's the only thing you can do with the driving mode selector here, put in sport mode or not. In the manual gearbox you don't need that, but here then with the sport mode, again, throttle input is being increased to to have a little bit more boost as for that. Here at normal motorway speeds, 130 kilometers an hour. Also reasonable as for the noise insulation, that's good. So no complaints as for that. Good and stable feeling. The steering wheel has no dead zone area, so it has a very natural controlled feeling. That's what they usually do very well at Mazda with the steering feel. Also when I'm doing like a lane change here now, good controlled feeling, nice handling. And then overtaking again, a little bit on throttle. Here when we are already at speed, there's not much acceleration still coming. And that's because, due to the lacking turbo, but these naturally aspirated engines, hard to find them nowadays. Mazda still has them, and I think that's a good thing because, well, when there's no turbo they could possibly break. That's the thing, And you can also have a good fuel economy if you keep them in a lower RPM scale as for that. So good motorway characteristics here. It is quite wet and unpleasant outside today, so even better tested, that's still somewhat reasonable as for noise insulation. Not if you drive really, really fast, then let's say some premium products are better, but at reasonable motorway speeds you won't feel the biggest difference then. Also good as for the upright seating position once again. However, ethical reasons beside even, just for the practical comfort reasons, these animal skin seats are really way stiffer, especially in the side bolstering when you sit on them. So for the long-term comfort, the pure fabric seat is definitely way better, especially for for the lower hip and thigh area and so on. We'll also get off the motorway here for you. Oh wait a minute, let's first continue here for the minimum consumption. Continue one more time, put it at 120 kilometers an hour. So between 60 and 70 miles an hour. You can see about the fuel economy when I keep it rather steady as for the throttle. And so far with manual gearbox as well, we had 8 liters on 100 kilometers. Something like 30 mpg US plus, a little bit less than 40 mpg UK for this very engine, which is still somewhat okay, definitely. And let's see what we score here today. So the CX-5, if you compare it to the CX-30, the newest small SUV, this one here gives you a little bit more, let's say, sophisticated feeling, a little bit bigger, of course. The seating position for tall people is also a little bit better. You have just more space to move around, and the seating position is more upright. And once again confirmed here, 8.3 liters. So due to less friction in the all-wheel drive, consumption could be a little bit better, but it won't be the major game changer. But here, these 8 liters or 30 mpg something figures for the for the US units. This is a realistic figure here when you drive it in a normal way and don't exaggerate it. The CX-5 is to me one of the let's say standard non-premium benchmarks. There are not so many things which it's where you could say it's exceptional or something, but so many things where you can really say that's really good. It's really good. Exception is definitely the manual gearbox, and also the steering is really, really good. Suspension is a good average. It's not uncomfortable. It's not too soft. So everything is basically just right with this vehicle, and that's also what's making it so strong, because they do so many things that you can say everyone will get along with this. You know, you're gonna have to get used to something. It's not super extraordinary, but that's actually what this car is for, and that's why it's also so popular. So getting off the motorway, of course, driving-wise, then the upgraded automatic is one of the best things, and you also felt it in the acceleration. I indeed also noticed that we have, you know, some better transitions between the gears when we were doing our acceleration test. That was very good to see. So definitely the upgrades for the automatic gearbox here, I like that. You know, in the corners, yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel too sporty. So if you go for one of these smaller siblings like the CX-30 or CX-3, they will feel sportier. This is not the main focus of this vehicle. And however, if you think about the competitors, the Hyundai Tucson, for example, we will also have a review of that this year in the new generation. Definitely comparable. VW Tiguan, for example, as well. Just to name a few. The Toyota RAV4. All definitely very good vehicles, and you can check out different reviews here on our Autogefühl channel. Just check out the video description, and we will also link some relevant other video reviews. You know, a little bit lower speed. The Viper do also a good job here. I mean, as long as they are fresh, it's no problem. Mazda also includes something like the G vectoring control. What does that mean? So they fine-tune the throttle input together with the corners, so that you get a little bit more torque when you get out of a corner and a little bit less torque when you get inside a corner. That also, you know, not that you would feel that substantially or something, but it somehow improves the driving experience just a little bit. And they also did some very interesting tests on the test track for that, and I saw the visualizations at that time that it really, you know, changes reduces the G-forces that are applied on the body of the driver, and especially also of the co-driver, because as a driver, you can, you know, at some point always lean onto the steering wheel, and that's fine. Here a good example, the CX-5 still fits in the city. It's not a too bulky SUV. So to me, it's always, also driving-wise, a very good compromise between not too big and not too small. And one of the vehicles I can still recommend when people ask me, like, okay, Thomas, you know, I want to have a compact SUV. What could be one of the clever choices, price performance-wise? And definitely CX-5 is always something where I can think of, you know, also as for the reliability figures and so on, always something where you can't make a mistake, you know. And here with the upgraded infotainment, I think that's really nice. Yeah, we don't have that touchscreen. However, I told you earlier, it is fairly easy to control that also while driving like this. You're not too distracted, and you can also pick like your favorite music title with that. And here we also have the optional Bose sound system, by the way. This gives more in-depth to the sound. The bass system was already quite cool, but here you have more surround experience. So as a music lover myself, I would indeed go for this optional Bose sound system. That's also a nice pick to have that. If you have the Matrix LED option, it's really cool as for the exterior experience. Looks different, and if you drive fast at night, the matrix function of that LED light will also help you. Other than that, it's not something that's super notable when you sit on the inside. And if you have the digital screen here in the middle part, or the analog one, the pure analog instruments, who cares? In this case, I think it's nothing which would be super relevant. Big new screen, that's definitely nice to have, also with a very good visibility. And oh yeah, I think what Mazda offers, what some others don't, is like this on GPS, the radar warning app. Oh, so great to have a GPS hotkey, by the way. Interesting to see also when I hit the GPS hotkey and I'm in the Apple CarPlay mode, it jumps to the map view of the Apple CarPlay, which could be intended and which could not be intended, depending on what you like. But here you can still access the normal car GPS when you don't want to use up all your personal data or so, you know. So that's definitely also very important to know. You remember that with some of the Ford sync systems, that is then not possible, that you cannot access the car internal GPS. So overall, I think once again really satisfied with the driving experience. Fuel economy is also now a little bit better, more towards 7 liters. Well, it's more than way more than 30 mpg and really 40 mpg clearly for UK and maybe a little bit more. This also speaks again for this, for this upgrade for the automatic gearbox, because so far we have seen a huge gap between manual gearbox and automatic gearbox, and also big difference as for all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. And it seems that with this update here, these immense, these clear or notable differences, they seem to be diminished now a little bit. It will still make a difference, but less than before. And I think that's the infotainment also a very nice finding here when driving the upgrade. So overall, driving experience-wise, the Mazda CX-5 still, one of the compact SUVs that sets a very, very good standard. It's not a super special car, but has an excellent price-performance ratio. And now to our conclusion for today with the most recent Mazda CX-5. So from the exterior, not many changes, but still a very likable design in this current generation. Interior, of course, the infotainment upgrade. This is the biggest one and it's definitely quite useful. Interior build quality is also at a good level and most of the assistance systems are already included from the base trim. In general, they have a lot of standard equipment, that's really good, and also very fair prices on all markets. That's the strong point about this vehicle. So it's not too bulky on the exterior. You could find a parking spot. Yet again, you already have space on the interior. And again, really fair pricing also in comparison to the competitors. And we've shown you today also that some options are really very useful. Some others you can leave aside. And so you can still, when you think about the cars here for today, so this one here about, 35,000 euros. The other one, then the polymetal gray, more than 40,000 euros, 45,000 euros. So there's the difference if you go for the smaller or the bigger engine, front-wheel drive, automatic, the manual transmission, automatic transmission, and of course some of the options here and there you can actually fine-tune that. But even a fully equipped CX-5 is still a quite good deal, good price-performance deal. They also improved a little bit as for the efficiency with the all-wheel drive and the automatic. That's definitely also a step forward. And you see Mazda rather has the strategy of constant facelifts, and every model year something is being updated instead of like one mid-cycle huge refresh. It's a different strategy, but definitely very interesting. And I hope you enjoyed this overview here today. You can also tune into other relevant video reviews. We will link it in the video description to the competitor vehicles. And of course, brand internally, CX-30. This is also another review you can check out. A little bit smaller, but also quite useful already. So I really hope you enjoyed our insight here for today. Subscribe if you haven't done so far, and see you next time.